What's up everybody? Today's video is on the Black & Decker KR705 750 watt hammer drill. This is a 2014 model and I believe they have a newer model, so I'll leave the model number for the newer version in the description. So it's got 750 watts, 3100 RPMs and 52,700 BPMs or beats per minute, whatever they are. The hammer mechanism is up here. You just switch that. Got a metal chuck with this part is rubber. This I believe is metal too because it's starting to corrode. So on the trigger here, there's something interesting. There's this dial that goes from 1 to 7. And this dial is not a speed selector. It simply limits how far you can pull the trigger. So, if you put it on 1, you'll only be able to pull the trigger a little bit. I'll demonstrate that in a few minutes. I will do a video on why you would want to buy a corded hammer drill instead of a cordless hammer drill. And if you're going to be doing a lot of heavy duty drilling in oak beams, you should get the larger model they have, which has a 2-speed selector on the side here. It's sort of the same as this 2-speed selector, because as you'll see later on in the video, when I try to drill through the oak, this doesn't do a very good job with the 16mm, and actually after I finished filming, it did smell a little bit bad. So I'll do some testing with this. I'll do concrete drilling, metal drilling, wood drilling. So in the box we have the handle storage, room for the cord, and you can also put drill bits and stuff in here. Then we got the space for the drill, and then the depth rod is kept up here. And it's just a plastic case with plastic clips. Standard wire brush. I'm just gonna use it a bit on this old rusty I-beam. That's one of the main things I use corded drills for. So I'm going to drill a 10mm hole into this sidewalk tile. I'm going to use hammer mode, and I'm going to push with a normal amount of force. Hammer drill's pretty good. I would do a 16mm hole, but I can't find the 16mm bit. So this is the screw test. Because it's a corded drill, I don't expect it to be too good at driving screws, so we're just going to use 5x60 into this 40x60. I've got a Bosch fairly new bit in here, so we're gonna test for chuck wobble. If you look right here, you'll see there's hardly any chuck wobble. So I can run my finger on it, and I can hardly feel any chuck wobble. There is a little bit of vibration, but I think that's coming from the drill and not the chuck. So I'm gonna set these screws in a little bit with my impact driver. Then we're gonna put them in with the drill. So as you can see, driving screws is not a hammer drill's or a corded drill's speciality. It's much better to use a cordless drill or an impact driver for driving screws. So this is the wood drilling test. Got a bunch of different bits, and I'm going to do 2 holes with each bit, starting with the standard 9mm brad point through this 40x60 piece of pine. Like butter. So next, I'm gonna do 30mm spade bit. And I'm gonna try and do it full speed, but I may have to slow it down a little bit. This one's bent. I have another one, and I'll show that in a minute. But for now, we'll use a 3/4 inch Bosch Daredevil bit. And I'm gonna do the first hole. I'm gonna probably do maybe 3/4 speed, and the second one I'll do full speed. Very fast. And then this is a 12mm spiral bit, and I'll try and do it full speed, but this is a very aggressive bit. Gotta move my wood over a little bit. Then 16mm spiral bit. And this is a little bit dull because it's an older bit, but we'll see if it can turn it. Actually does it pretty well. So let me just grab that other spade bit. We'll use a 1 1/4, which I believe is about a 35mm. Move my wood over a little bit. Okay, we're gonna use the 25 millimeter because the 1 1/4 wobbles a lot too. Yeah, see, if you're using this kind of spade bit, the one without the screw, just to compare it to the Bosch Daredevil, you can see how the Daredevil has a screw on the tip and the spade bit doesn't. If you're using this type of spade bit, you should use an impact driver, whereas this one works a lot better with drills. And it does work better with an impact driver, and if you're buying spade bits, you should definitely consider buying the ones with the screw tip on the end. But if all you have is these, you should definitely use an impact driver. So what we have here is a 20 by 11 centimeter hunk of oak, and we have to drill through a lot of this stuff because all the beams in this house are made out of oak, and cordless drills can drill through this, but it's better to have a corded drill. So we're going to see what this drill can do with the 12 millimeter bit. I'm probably not going to be able to get all the way through it without having to back out and come back in, but we're going to see. Yep, it's through. Well, not quite, but now it's through. And you can see it smoking because it's oak. And really, 3100 RPMs is not the ideal speed to be turning something like this in oak. You should be turning it like less than 1,000. So if you drill a lot of this stuff, you should probably look into buying a high power cordless drill, or at least a 2-speed corded drill. We're gonna see if it can do a second hole. So 12 millimeter is all very nice, but you're not going to get a piece of gain through a beam or a big bolt through with a 12 millimeter. So we're going to do one hole with the 16. So if you go really slowly, it can do a 16, but I'm not going to push it because there's no need to make it do a 16 millimeter hole. And if you have a rotary hammer, you should put the chuck on the rotary hammer, the standard chuck on the rotary hammer, and use it to drive this. So I've got this thing on the trigger set to number 1. Then we'll crank it up a bit. And then we'll crank it all the way. So it is useful if you don't want to pull the trigger all the way like that. You can just dial it down to 1 and it will presumably always stop at the same place. Now I'm going to drill a 10 millimeter hole through this piece of metal. Put the handle on. The handle is just plastic with a bolt in it, or fiberglass or whatever, and something that I didn't know about for a while was you just turn that and you can put bits and stuff in there. Zoom in. So I may not drill through it all the way, it depends how long it takes. Put a bit of oil in there. So as you can see, this drill is not really meant for drilling giant holes in metal because it goes too fast. If you get the 2-speed version, which also has more power, it will do a lot better job in drilling metal. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.